Do you agree? I don't know. Will you unsubscribe? Possibly. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If I look like I've been crying, that's because I have. I just watched the Friends reunion and it made me laugh, it made me smile, it made me emotional, and it made me cry. Today I'm doing the Unpopular Opinions tag. The girl who says that she never does tags is doing 2 tags a month. I do the tags I find interesting, okay? The Unpopular Opinions tag. And no, I was not tagged by anyone. I just saw some of my friends do this and I thought that, hey, I probably have some unpopular opinions. I might as well do this tag myself. The first question is, a popular book or series that you don't like? Can I have multiple answers for this? It's not that I majorly dislike any book or series, it's just that there are a few books that are very hyped up where I don't agree with the hype. And also I do want to mention there's one very particular book that is like, this one is etched in my mind as a book and a series that I did not enjoy when I was like 13. And because of that, this book is now my arch nemesis. So the book/series that I don't enjoy as much as others seem to do is the Brown Sisters series. I've only read 2 of the books so far. I mean, they're enjoyable, at least the second one. Okay, the thing is, I didn't care about the first book at all. I have given both of the books 3 stars, and I know so many people that love these books and swear by them. And I completely understand in some ways, because there's great representation, disability representation, but also like LGBTQ plus representation, POC representation, so many amazing things. But for example, the first book, Get a Life, Chloe Brown. This was just like meh. I loved the concept of like a bucket list for like how to get a life. But the execution wasn't enough, and like the main dude, Red, didn't care about him at all. He was not it. He was boring. There was no chemistry, like stuff like that. The second book, Take a Hint, Danny Brown, so much better, way better. Still not a 4 or 5 star, but this time I enjoyed the characters, I enjoyed their chemistry. The plot was pretty weak. I feel like Talia Hibbert, she has great ideas for her books, or the 2 I read so far at least. But execution of the plot, the driving force, the main device for how these characters get together is not the strongest. I will listen to the 3rd and final book. I will probably read other books by Talia Hibbert as well in the future. But like people seem to love this series, like 4 or 5 stars across the board. And I'm here like 2.5, 3, 3.5. That's definitely a series that I don't vibe with the same way that others seem to do. Another book I want to mention. This one gets a lot of hype, but you don't actually hear that much about people's opinions on it, I feel like. Like, everyone hypes it up in their TBRs or in their hauls. Then you don't really hear anything, like their thoughts about it. But that book is These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. Where do I start with this book? It was boring. It's trying to do too much. It's trying to be a historical fantasy. There's also a thriller, there's also a romance, but it's really not a romance at all. The selling point of it being a Romeo and Juliet retelling? No, it's not. Like, ugh. I might still read the second book because I'm curious to see if it gets better. The 3rd book that I kind of teased at, that is like my arch nemesis, or a book that I just have very bad memories of, is Shiver by Maggie. I believe her name is Maggie Steepwater. This was released around the time when vampires and werewolves were all of the hype, and this was the werewolf equivalent. So I read Shiver, didn't really like it. For some reason, got the second book, Linger. I read like 50 pages, I think, and then just never completed it. It might have been my first DNF of all time. Because of this traumatizing experience, for a 13 or 14-year-old girl, it's now etched in my mind that I don't like this series at all. I don't know why I didn't enjoy it, to be honest. It's not only because of the werewolves, it was because of the execution, I'm fairly sure. Like, I didn't really vibe with the characters, so I guess those are my 3 main ones. The second question is a book/series that many don't like, but you love. Yeah, I honestly can't think of any. The 3rd question is a love triangle where the main character ended up with the person you didn't want them to end up with, / an OTP that you don't like. I can't really come up with any for this one. I can probably think of tons when it comes to like series and K-dramas, but like in books, I don't really think there's any. I haven't really read that many books with like love triangles, at least as of lately. I probably did a lot when I was younger. It's not really a plot that has been showing up that much in like my most recent reads. So yeah, I can't actually think of any. As I said, TV shows, K-dramas, Asian dramas, I have plenty, but for this one, for books, I usually root for the right person. The fourth question is a popular genre that you hardly reach for. Now, this isn't really a genre, it's more of a format of books, and that is graphic novels. I don't really read graphic novels. I have nothing against it, it's just the way my reading has turned out, I guess. Just a couple of years ago, I read so many webtoons, binged webtoons, honestly. So it's not that I mind the format of graphic novels and comics and such, it's just that it's not really what I've been reading. I think the main reason for that might be the fact that the books are quite expensive. I honestly just think it's me being cheap. I mean, there are a few that I would really love to try out. I have eyed a bunch of them, like Saga, the Buffy reboot, Rat Queens. They're expensive, especially if you compare them to like how quickly you read them. If I can buy a 400-page book with text for like 100 Swedish crowns, but like a graphic novel that is like 70 pages long that you finish reading within half an hour, that is like 150 Swedish crowns. I don't make enough money yet to buy graphic novels, is my point. I would actually like to do an experiment where I do try to get more into graphic novels, so perhaps that might be something for the future, because I would love to. If we're talking about genres, because as I said, graphic novels is a format, not a genre. If we're talking about genres, I would probably say horror. Horror is a genre that I haven't really read that much of. I think I've read like 2 or 3 books that could be considered to be horror, and I would love to get into it more. I would love to read some Stephen King, explore that. I would love to read some more creepy, messed up things. I do think I would enjoy it, and I do think I'm not that easily scared. And this is a genre that I do see many talk about over on BookTube. A lot of the people I watch really enjoy horror, so it would be fun to get into that one more. The fifth question is a popular or beloved character that you don't like. Once again, it's kind of the same thing with love triangles. I don't think there's any that comes to mind that I don't particularly like. I'm trying to think. Let me have a look at my books. I think most characters are quite cool, to be honest. I have many favorite characters. Oh, okay. I will mention 3 and we'll see how upset people get. The first one I already did mention actually, and that is Red from Get a Life, Chloe Brown. He did nothing for me. He was really boring, no chemistry. He was written as if he should have a lot of spunk and be like fun and like exactly the opposite of Chloe, but also the thing that gets her to open up. I didn't buy it. Like I didn't, no. There are other characters that I have enjoyed more. The second character that I will mention that might get me lynched is the Darkling. I recently did read the entire Shadow and Bone trilogy, and the Darkling did nothing for me. I love Ben Barnes in the show. I think Ben Barnes is a great Darkling. But the Darkling in the books, no, he was so flat. There was no depth to him at all. Like the Darkling in the books was so boring. Then the third character I will mention, which like it's not a character I dislike. I think it's a very good and valid character in that series. It's just that I don't have that sort of affection for this character that so many others seem to have. And I'm talking about Holland from the A Darker Shade of Magic series. Holland is also like the villain in this series. Once again, great character. I do really enjoy him and the part he is playing in these books. But the thing is, everyone else in the fandoms, like over on Twitter and Tumblr and BookTube and all of that, they adore Holland. They want him to have some sort of redemption arc and like be recognized for being a good person when he clearly isn't. And I get that he had a difficult past and like he has reason for acting the way he does. I completely understand all of that. I'm not that involved in that character, I guess. So those are the 3 characters, I would say. Question 6 is an author that you can't seem to get into. I'm just gonna sound like a broken record and repeat myself. I will either say Talia Hibbert. Once again, I have only read 2 of her books and they are from the same series, so it's not really that much to judge her for. As I said, I don't vibe with these books the same way that everyone else seems to do. That is probably due to writing, because as I said, the plot ideas and tropes and characters are quite good. It's just that the execution of the main plot that is a driving force for making a relationship happen, that's not really so strong. Fairly weak plot points, I would say. And then the second author that I will mention is Maggie Stiefvater, the author of Shiver. I already told you my story. Because of my experience with those books, I am scared to read anything else by Maggie. And I know she has this really popular series called The Raven Boys. I would probably love that series, I guess. Like, it sounds pretty great. But because she's the author of that series, I kind of wouldn't dare to read those books. So I'm not sure if I'm missing out. Should I give it a try? Let me know. Is it worth it? Question 7. A book trope that you're tired of seeing. For this one, I will actually go with the third act conflict. Now, this is a trope that is more common in contemporaries and romances, I feel like, compared to like fantasies, sci-fis. And that might be mainly because like in fantasy, sci-fis, the conflict is the entire book, the entire event that's going on. While in contemporaries and romances, let's go with romances, the characters meet, they fall in love, they have some good times, and then like by the final third of the book, something happens and the characters are forced to separate, or they choose to separate, and things are kind of bad, but then we know that they're gonna get back together. That's the third act conflict. Like the thing that shows up in the end, in the final act, that makes the couple break up when there really is no need for it. Most of the time, I understand that it's to add another layer of like something. I'm actually tired of seeing this thing, because if everything is going so well in the beginning, they might break up for the most stupid of reasons. And it's not even that like, oh, I'm breaking up with you in order to protect you. No, that can be a fine reason. Some examples of this are actually the Christina Lauren books I read, both the Unhoneymooners and the In a Holidays, where everything is going great. Like really, really good for the main couple, like after half of the book. But then this third act conflict shows up. And like, it's so unnecessary, and usually it also pins the wrong person as the villain in the scenario for some unknown reason. I don't really get those conflicts that suddenly show up. It's not her fault that she could time travel. As we know, these conflicts, when they are in contemporaries or romances, they mainly last for like 20 pages max. And then they're back together again and everything is happy, and then we have the epilogue and then we're done. Second one I will mention is the love triangle trope. As I said, I haven't read as many books recently that feature this trope, which I'm pretty happy about, but it still exists and it's still like a nail in my eye. Question 8. A popular book or series that you have no interest in reading. I'm gonna mention a few ones and I'm gonna be quick about this. The first is the Throne of Glass series, I believe it's called. It's Sarah J. Maas. It's too long and it's very YA, I guess, so like I have no interest in getting into it. The next one is the Shadowhunter series, or like Chronicles. I haven't read any of these books either. Once again, too many books, too YA. It's too much of an effort to try and get into, honestly. The final series, I'm not as certain about this one, but it's I believe it's called the Lunar series, which is like the retellings, the sci-fi retellings of like Disney princesses. I think it's one of those cases where I might read the first book to give it a go, and because I have a friend that really likes the first book, perhaps would read it for her, but I probably wouldn't read the entire series. Like, I would be surprised if I read more than the first book of this series. And then we have the final question, question 9. The saying goes that the book is always better than the movie, but what movie or TV show adaptation is better than the book? I have once again 2 answers for this, because I'm not someone that can stick to just one answer. I like to talk. The first one I'm gonna say is Little Fires Everywhere. This TV show is freaking incredible. The book is alright, while the show handles everything spectacularly. It's immaculate. It's so good. Acting, incredible. The shooting, the script, the story, like, perfection. So good. Watch the show. The second thing I want to mention is the Hate You Give movie. I did really enjoy the book. Nothing against the book at all. I gave the book 4 stars. It's a great book. The movie is even better. Once again, the acting, how it was shot, like the cinematography. It's a gorgeous and wonderful and emotional movie. I was teary-eyed throughout the entire movie. I kept wanting to cry, even at the happy moments and even at the funny moments. If you have a chance to watch it, please do. So that was my take on the Unpopular Opinions Book Tag. Please let me know, I'm super curious. What are your thoughts? Do you agree with anything I said? Or am I completely wrong and you're going to unsubscribe and unfollow me everywhere and start like a riot against me? Just give me a heads up if that's the case, so I have some time to prepare. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Please take care and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye!
You gotta just go for it. Don't think about what comes after or what came before.
Question. It is what it is.